Perfect. Thank you very much. So I'm Johannes Nuutinen from a Nordic think tank, Demos Helsinki, and now as the final part of your busy and intensive day, we'll have a panel discussion for deputy mayors and leading city planners from the city of Helsinki, the city of Vantaa, and the city of Örebro. So I'll just. Excuse me? I mentioned Helsinki, right? Good, just to make sure. So I'll invite our panelists on stage, just as a kind of as a practicality. Not all of the panelists, but all of the cities will be having a short presentation before we'll open up the event for discussions. So first of all, we're going to have Hannu, Penttilä, and Tarja, Laine from the city of Vantaa. Just take your place.
Seat.
Oh, just no, please. Don't sit. Present. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So I'm Hannu Penttilä, Deputy Mayor for City of Vantaa for City Planning, Real Estate and Environment. Tarja Laine, she's the head of City Planning Department, and we will start our show, I hope.
Do you?
Is it?
Comes from
Who? Where are our pictures? Okay. Okay, I have to run that.
Sorry, just a moment.
Valuable minutes go.
Yes. Vantaa.
Yeah.
Okei, meneekö automaattisesti? Se on tahdistettu.
Joo, piti mennä.
No, laita vaan.
We will see.
Okay. So, first some words about City of Vantaa, what it is about, and why that city will be one of the most exciting places for new architecture during the next years. So that is about our, and I will present why and maybe some exciting ideas, and then Tarja will explain more about examples and ideas for architecture for Vantaa. I guess I have to do that. Okay, I will do. So, most of you, you know where Vantaa is. Our foreign guest, you came through Vantaa, landed for Vantaa Helsinki Airport, and it is the northern part of Helsinki metropolitan area with 215,000 people. And one new feature is that just 1 year ago we opened our ring rail, which is a loop from the airport to the city, and at the same time it connects maybe it is one of the most strongest connection between East Vantaa and West Vantaa, because it has been a long time that the airport has divided Vantaa into two. Now it connects Vantaa totally. And cities in Nordic countries, they are strong as Vantaa. Other Finnish cities, if we compare them with the European cities, so we have 10,000 employees working for Vantaa nowadays, and we invest more than 100 million every year. And what makes our economy sustainable nowadays is that our number of employment is more than 100%, and the growth in number of jobs has been the biggest during last years. So our area somehow it is growing, and at the same time the places where you can as well work for your ideas are growing as well. And one feature is our airport, of course. That is the main answer why Vantaa is growing this time. Nowadays we have Helsinki-Vantaa Airport is the main northern hub, especially to Asia. There are yearly now 16 million passengers, and after some years there will be 20. It is not the most, but it is one of the main hubs, as I said, to Asia, especially from Europe. But that is not the whole picture. Just now, maybe the most exciting case is that we are building a new urban area around the airport and very close to airport, so-called Aviapolis area. That is at the same time our city's economic engine, but at the same time we are making and planning that for residential purposes, retailing and entertainment center of this metropolitan area, and that is exciting. And you will see our cases just now. Those rings, they are more or less, you can say that there are 2 billion euros investments going on already. There will be competition, architectural competition, especially we need new architecture, how to make that new city, which is quite unique in the whole world, close airport, but at the same time urban and small-scale living environment. That is the point where the most exciting cases will happen during next years. And I hope one day there will be that kind of landmarks as our old St. Lawrence Church, now a little more than 600 years old. After 600 years, maybe some of those new cases will be shown as well in that kind of this kind of presentations. But Tarja, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So in this big task to make Vantaa a real city, the architectural programs have been a very good tool. And we have done already twice the whole process, and in each one we have been studying our capacity to create better architecture, and I think slowly by slowly we are succeeding. However, one of the most important things in our architectural program, as well as in how we develop the city, is that we want to listen to the people, and we want to make the city very good for those people who are living there and who want to come there. We want to respect their needs and wishes. So we have realized that surprisingly, we have these technological pictures just some slides ago. So we have realized that the nature is very important for everybody. Access to the places like this, Pitkäsuo, is very important for people, or they want to go to swim in Kuusijärvi in the winter time, summertime, every time, or have some other experiences which are important. And this is something what we have realized that it's also important in the international competition, because the combination of technologically high technology airport city and the nature is something which is rare. Also agriculture and history we want to do. So, however, one of the challenges in architecture is that we have to build affordable houses. People who move to Vantaa, they come from other cities and they are not maybe so rich than those people who come, maybe this is not correct to say, but to Helsinki
Kauniainen.
to Kauniainen, not Espoo and Helsinki. And so it is very important for us to make housing which people can afford and where they go. So this is one of the Kartanonkoski, which is not appreciated by architects, but very much appreciated by people living there. And I appreciate the area because I like to see people happy in the houses where they live. But this is some of the more maybe elegant. Also, we add a lot of art into our new buildings, and it is like a secret path where you can go from a house with different type of art and see how they are developed. Also, we want to have a lot of pilots and some kind of experiments, and this Sinnemäki competition is some of which I am very proud of, or which maybe we all are proud of, because we said that it is we gave the competitors free area, they could do whatever they wanted. But we have also real architecture, like the same designers, and for this building is in Fatser. And so we wish that we create a lot of things for you to see in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Just please have a seat, and then we'll have our friends from Örebro, Björn, Sundin, and Peder Hallkvist.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here. Björn Sundin, I'm Deputy Mayor of Örebro, responsible for city planning, and Peder Hallkvist is the city architect. Örebro is in the heart of Sweden, 145,000 inhabitants. We have a great growth, actually the highest population growth outside the big cities. We have the highest contraction rate per capita among the big cities. And we'll just rush you through a few of the key factors why we actually succeed to grow this much. And 3 reasons why we actually grow this fast with quality, because we claim that we do it with quality. The one thing is that we own a lot of land, and the owning of the land is handled in the city planning department. It's connected. And we see this as a very important thing, that the planners need to think about how the land is actually going to be sold eventually when it's planned. And the officers handling the sale must understand that the architecture and the design is equally important, so they have to be in the process. And the core of this is joint responsibility, that you do it on the same time. So we'll go through these dialogues and these methods, but I'll just show you. This is actually Örebro. It's a castle in the middle. Most of the population lives in the city center, and it's the nature within the few minutes by bike from the city center. And we try to build more dense. We want to have a dense city, and we need the nature reserves and the green areas to be able to make the town more dense. We're actually not just growing the fastest, we actually have the highest rate of nature reserves within the municipality, and the people in Örebro are the ones in Sweden has the closest to the nature reserves and the green. And this is all a part of the strategy. We have the comprehensive plan, ranging with 25 years, and the big strategy. And we have the action plan, building of the city, where we try to make it transparent how we work, so that the people will know this is how we densify the city within the 3 kilometers from the city castle. And it's also obvious for the building companies, the constructors, the owners of property, where we're going to build where's the next step. So it's actually a transparent process, and we will be able to put down the principles in this stage. Now Peter will show you how we do the rest.
Thank you. So we have this action plan for building the city, and that action plan is connected to the planning and allocation process we have. And the first one, which is the normal planning process, as most municipalities work with in Sweden, means that well, you sell land, and after that you have a planning process, making the detailed planning, and that might take 2, 4, 6, 10 years. Because you have maybe a long process of appeals. So the time from when they bought the land to the start of construction might take a very, very long time. And for the architecture, that period of time is a very long time. And I mean, people's needs might differ during such a long time. So in the model we use, which we call the Örebro-modellen, we sell land only when detailed plan is adopted and has passed the phase of appeals. And we sell when the project is developed and there is a building permit and construction has started. And there are many benefits with that. And because the time from land purchase to start of construction become very short, and it prevents speculation as we see it, and we can control the quality of the architecture throughout the whole process. And I show some examples how we work. This is Södra Ladugårdsängen, where we have to start with a quality program saying how to develop this area. It complements the detailed plan. We force the project developers to cooperate and the architects in what we call joint pilot studies. And we have a very intense dialogue about architecture during the whole process. And we don't sell before architectural qualities are secured in building permits. And this is the second example I show you from our model. We call it, we give the power to the architect. We have a very strategic and attractive plot in the very city center. We want attractive architecture, a smart project and new ideas. And we want to build not just a beautiful project. So we try to use this model we have in a new way. We let the architect get the option, the exclusive right to develop the plot. So the architect has the freedom to sell, assign the right to the plot whenever they want and to whoever they want. But we control, the municipality control, the quality of architecture of the project throughout the whole project. And if it just will become an object without much thought about its context, we will end the process. We have the possibility to end the process and start with another architect. But I don't think we have to need to do that in this project. I have some slides I show very quickly. It's from some architect competitions. We work very much with competitions. So this is just, well, without comments. Örebro Trästad, it's a wooden concept, wooden construction, wooden facades. Örebro Universitet, it's university buildings, it's student houses, it's housing for researchers, and it's office building in a very tight context. The gardens, it's a retirement home with gardens both inside and outside. And this is a just recently completed competition. It's a new water reserve that will replace our world-famous water tower called Svampen. And it's this competition attracted architects from 7 countries, mainly from Norden, but also as far as from Thailand. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. And finally from the city of Helsinki, Anni, Sinnemäki and Mikko.
Good afternoon on my behalf. My name is Mikko. I'm the Director of City Planning in Helsinki. We agreed with the Deputy Mayor that I can use my words first because after she has spoken I usually don't have anything to say more, so I can begin. We don't have slides so much. Actually I have one and Anni has one. Before they said there are 2 things you cannot avoid. It's death and taxes. And now you can say today there are 2 things you cannot avoid. It's urbanism and taxes. Urbanism is a global trend. It's not a thing of Helsinki. It's global. It's the phenomenon. It's going on. This picture is the illustration of our new comprehensive plan. It's under decision making process. It's going to be hard. It's a lot of interests. The strange thing is, of course, that it has been going on with the same elements from 2012 until today, and now the discussion is going on quite wild, in a quite wild way. There are certain points on the comprehensive plan. Helsinki is going fast, as I maybe told already, maybe 8,000 new inhabitants every year, and we have to prepare to that strong growth, which means that we have to find the ways to densify the structure. We have to find the ways to create a sustainable mobility system, public transportation, and we have to find a way to preserve the values of the nature and surroundings. The key points in the comprehensive plan is a rail-based network system in public transportation. We want to expand the structure of the city core, densifying, producing capacity for production. We have to change the motorways coming into the city to boulevards to combine the different parts of the cities together, make new urban space, possibilities to new urban life, which is the thing the people are wanting and needing today. According to the architecture, a colleague from Copenhagen, Tina Sabi, says, consider first urban life, then you consider urban space, and after that comes architecture. And the role of the city and the different actors and actors in the chain of built environment, our role is to give the basis and find the ways to support to the as good result as possible. We have continuing discussion about what can we give and say in our plans, what can be the conditions so that we don't try to hinder architects' creativity and possibilities to give their own part of the process. In the city we have to find the common visions, the common goal of built environment and do our part of the chain of the actions. The ways are many we can do. I don't have time to go to that, but the competitions are of course one of those. And in our department, in partnership with the real estate department, there are maybe between 10 and 20 competitions per year to give the possibility to plan. Today, at this point, we are preparing a high-rise competition in Pasila, and that's maybe another story, but it's going on. Anni can continue from this.
Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Anni Sinnemäki. I'm the Deputy Mayor for City Planning and Real Estate in Helsinki, working together with Mikko. And I could say just briefly, my background and position is not one of a planners or an architect, but I have studied Russian literature and worked my adult life in national politics and in local politics, doing decision-making in legislative issues and in executive positions. And I have been working as a deputy mayor for a bit more than 1.5 years. I also have only one picture, and I wanted to say a couple of dilemmas or questions that I have found important when we are planning the city and building the city. And to these dilemmas I don't perhaps have answers to them all, but it's more like ways to think or analyze things. That picture is it's from the Market Square. It's taken from my office in the Helsinki City Hall. It shows the market during herring market. That is an annual event that has been, it's one of the longest, if not the longest, continuing tradition in Helsinki. And there are two groups of children in the picture, one in front and another one there, bit in the back. It's kindergarten groups that have come to the market for the herrings and see what's going on. As you can see, although I have sort of used an Instagram filter, and I did also some sort of that I left out some things from the picture, but still you can see that the market is not very beautiful or well planned. And if you would continue the picture to this direction, you would see ugly parking space and lots of faults that show that there is really, there should be things done. And I would say that in a way, one dilemma I think is between planning and beauty, and on the other hand, just things happening and being attractive. And of course they are not in contradiction, and there has been, I think, at least 3 different projects considering the market and how we should plan it and how we should make it more functional and more beautiful and more attractive. And I hope that we will be able to actually fulfill these plans. But at the same time, when the city machine and the planning machine has not been able to take all the 8 or 9 different city departments that actually govern the market, the life goes on, and different actors do things, and actually it's a good place. And in a way, I think, although I do appreciate beautiful buildings and even sometimes ugly things irritate me more than I could imagine, but still somehow the life and the space that is just taken by the citizens is perhaps the most important things. And then some other dilemmas, I would say, it's between growth and enabling the nature. And I think it's been mentioned in the speakers before. Helsinki has the enormous privilege of being a growing city, which is great because it tells that we are attractive. It's a place where people want to come, and I think it's our very duty to build more, to find places where to build more, to allow people, if they want to come, to allow them to come. And at the same time, of course, when you take space, you have to think where you can take it and from what you take it. And also, I do believe, of course, that we can make the city more dense. But also, I think it's a great ability in the cities that even the nature finds its way, and in the future it finds also its way in green roofs or in meadows or in such ways that we have perhaps not even been used to. And perhaps my last point is that the great thing about a city is that it can be a perfect place even when it's full of imperfections. And I think that is perhaps the best thing or the fascinating thing that we can plan and we can really do careful things and we can make use of good architecture, we can make use of people being active, coming together to plan things, and all the time during when we are building more and when we are aiming to make the city better, we can live with its being imperfect, we can live with its not being ready. And I think that is perhaps the enjoyment of the city planning, that you can have good things while just going to the target or developing it. And I had some comments also, but perhaps it's in the discussion how we sell land and when we lease it and so on about these rules. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have about 4 dear minutes for discussion. Let's use our best to condense still a set of good new ideas in those minutes. We start by posing one question to the panel, and then the audience can put in one question, and then we can come back to these issues a little bit. I would like to ask, thinking that there is tomorrow this continuation, a local architectural policy network meeting, what would be, based on your experiences in the 3 cities, your 2 most important recommendations or points that should be taken on board in tomorrow in the local network meeting? And if Vantaa could start. I hope the mic works.
I hope as well. I will say that look for that kind of cases which can be realized for those people who have not so much money as we have nowadays.
And also I would like to stress the people's participation in the plan. We are doing the cities for people, and it has been nice to hear today how this is already happening in many projects.
Thank you. Örebro.
Well, yeah, I think talking about architecture, I think you should talk very much about what it does and not so much about how it looks.
Then the outcome of that would be the young responsibility. We need more active players. I mean, we need lesser pointing fingers and more active players actually forming things together. And I mean, I think that's the knowledge we've developed. The design and the architecture only makes a difference if it's actually is able to be built. If the construction company and the property owner actually might be able to build what's done by the architect, then it makes a difference. If you don't make it to the building place, it doesn't matter as much actually.
Quite
So
right.
cooperation might be.
That's true. And Helsinki.
Maybe one thing is to take into account in discussion the urban space and urban life elements, which I mentioned in the first part.
Okay.
Anni.
Just perhaps continuing there, that I think one thing what could be thought is what kind of teams would make good teams, that be it architects, geographists, local people associations, sociologists, psychologists, that sometimes really good things come out of when you have a good diverse team thinking of things together.
Thank you very much. I think it's really good selection of teams. 6 points for the agenda of tomorrow. Now I would like to throw a very thin net to the audience. 1 or 2 questions.
Or maybe I can pose Anni's questions to the rest of the panel. what does compile the kind of the ultimate team for city planning? What are we already have the citizens obviously, and you have architects. Who else needs to be in the mix?
Sometimes those developers can be as well partners.
Yeah. Money.
Money is one part.
Anni said money.
I think it's sometimes quite often actually good if the money is around as well.
Yeah. Yes, I think there was possibly a very important point, because we have been discussing quite much about urban process, public space and architecture, but this dimension of real estate and land policy. And I think exactly between Helsinki, Örebro and Vantaa, there is possibly a brief point, if you could all comment on that, because Örebro, you had a really interesting model where this land ownership and policy played a role, and the approach in Helsinki is a little bit different. There is something to learn, and I think this is the final question we can discuss. If Anni, if you can start.
Well, Helsinki is in a position where we really own a lot of land, like around 65% at least, which of course gives city certain power in comparison if we wouldn't. We also have the policy that we sell land only if it's if we see that it's like fully developed in the sense of plans, that we don't sell just land to be developed, but if there has to be a zoning regulations, and already we see that there's no speculation gives room, and that's when we sell, and perhaps we sell more like to office space issues, because there it seems that the market is such that those who own office space they have the need to not to lease but to own. And of course we have also policies regarding if we don't own the land, we still take the money if the planning raises the value of the land. So fairly strict we are in these matters.
Exactly. Basically Helsinki mostly uses long leases. It's not selling at all. And so Örebro, you sell. You don't have the long lease.
And but we sell it when actually the construction is started, so we see something on the ground, then at that point we sell. And it's different. It seems like we're rather alike, but we're different countries. And I would say that in the Swedish context, in the Swedish the legislation, we would be not unique, but will be singled out. Whereas it seems like in Finland it is another tradition, maybe when it comes to the land. But I think the important lesson is that the ownership of the land and to be able to control the land is maybe the far more important actually when it comes to creating a diverse and dense city than trying to regulate it in the detailed plans or in zoning regulations, because we always realize that we lose every fight if we think that the detailed plan will solve the problem. We keep it in the land ownership, but then we have to own the land, of course. But we buy land to be able to do that.
I think this is very, very deep point. Hannu and Tarja, do you want to comment very briefly on Vantaa?
As a surveyor, my background, I only can applaud all those ideas which are said just now.
In Vantaa, where we don't own the land,
Not
mostly.
No, yes, but
We try.
We try.
Yes, Vantaa is in a situation that the city has to buy land, and there is always the question on what price. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the panel. Thanks for co-moderation. Thank you very much to the team of Architecture Information Center Finland for organizing, and all the different actors who supported, of course, including the Nordic Council. Really have to close the thing. I just would like to say that I got very many notes, and exactly these themes of participation and let's say not sustainability only, but really resource efficiency. I think those two were very, very present in the very rich and long discussion of today. More is too much. That was Marko Heidman's voice, and there were really very many interesting points pointing to a Scandinavian or Nordic model of participation and collaboration, for example. Very interesting. Let's take those ideas on board. And I would like to finish by reminding from where we started this morning. Riitta Kaivosoja from the ministry discussed a little bit the meaning of policy. Okay, it's somehow a paper and can be quite light, but I think she was quite right in saying that if we together write a policy, we somehow formulate our ideas of today and of future, and it is quite meaningful. We can come back to this formulation, we can realize after some years, okay, something really was done. So I wish that this policy process, both locally and nationally and on this Nordic level, will continue. Thank you very much.